Hello there everyone, Mediocre Otaku here. Dragon Ball Super Chapter 69 just dropped, and I wanted to talk about it because there's some pretty big stuff that happened in this chapter. So let's just get right into my thoughts on this, and we'll see how good or bad the chapter was. So the chapter starts off with Granola arriving back on planet Cereal. Not much really happens here. We see the Shigurians, and we find out that Granola and this mystery person that he's living with don't live in the town with them. They live off in a mountain so that Granola can sort of just keep an eye on his hometown and constantly remind himself about what Frieza and the Saiyans did to it. We also find out here that it was after Frieza basically took out everything, that was when the heaters arrived and rebuilt and took over the planet. After that, the scene shifts to Beerus and Vegeta kind of training. Beerus starts off by asking Vegeta how many planets the Saiyans have destroyed, and Vegeta was kind of like, well, a lot, and it only got worse after Frieza took over. So then Vegeta basically says that, while Frieza sort of ramped up the rate that the Saiyans were destroying things, that his father was also not a good person. So the sins of the Saiyans were on them. He had no one else to blame. Vegeta says that it was basically their fate to be wiped out and that they kind of deserved what they got. And Beerus takes offense to that, which seems a little weird. This part of the chapter was one of two parts that actually kind of really confused me, if I'm being honest. So after that, Beerus decides to attack Vegeta. After, showing Vegeta that how easily he can blow up a planet, which I feel like anyone in this show can blow up a planet pretty easily at this point. And then Beerus says something that as long as Vegeta has doubt that he can never obtain this destruction power that Beerus has, that he shouldn't be feeling guilty for what the Saiyans did. Which I guess is fair, although this is something that just sort of came up. Like, Vegeta hasn't mentioned this at all, really, prior to what's happening here. He got his sort of redemption arc when he was, helping the Namekians against Moro rather than slaughtering them. But this just kind of seemed like it came out of nowhere. And then Beerus informs Vegeta that he had actually ordered Frieza to wipe out Planet Vegeta. Despite Vegeta basically saying that it was the Saiyan's destiny to get wiped out, he gets mad, which I do kind of understand. Beerus pretty much is responsible for completely destroying Vegeta's way of life and all of his people. So then he and Beerus actually begin to fight, which is something that I didn't think I'd see till much later on in the series, so it was cool to see it here. And Vegeta basically just gets trounced, which I feel like he should have stood more of a chance at this point, because they've been training for how long now with Whis, but I guess there's still just such a huge gap between Goku and Vegeta and Beerus. Although, now that Goku has at least some form of Ultra Instinct, I feel like he might be able to stand a decent chance against Beerus, but I don't really know. So then, Beerus beats up Vegeta, and he gets him on the ground, and he says that what the Saiyans did in the past has nothing to do with him, which, again, I never really got the sense throughout Super that Vegeta was trying to atone for everything the Saiyans did, which, even if he was, I feel like that's good character growth for him. Maybe I'm wrong, but the way we saw him when he first showed up on Earth, still sort of holding on to the destructive ways of the Saiyans. We see him, it's filler, but we see him destroy planet Arlia. He tries to destroy Earth with the Gallic gun. And then, he's just, after the Frieza saga, he's not really, like, evil like that. He's just kind of a massive asshole. And then in the Buu arc, we finally see Vegeta sort of become more accustomed to living on Earth. He stops wearing the Saiyan armor, and he has, this whole conflict about what it is he truly wants. And he finally comes to the conclusion that, okay, I need to sort of let go of the past, accept my life here on Earth, and also accept that Goku is just going to forever be stronger than me. Which, that last part is already gone from Vegeta's character in Super. He's still trying to compete with Goku, which is something I don't really like. Like, I feel like his motivation to become stronger should be for Bulma and Trunks rather than just becoming stronger than Goku. But that's not where they went with it. And now, if he's trying to not even repent for what the Saiyans did, what's his goal going to be? I feel like this has the potential to just completely reverse like a lot of the character growth he had. I don't think that's what they're going to do. They're probably going to do something else. I really, if we get Majin Vegeta 2.0, I'm going to be pissed off. Anyway, Beerus uses the Hakai on him. He just destroys Vegeta's armor and sends him flying back. And then Beerus says that his mind is always on destruction, and that's why he is so powerful, and that Vegeta needs to destroy any stray thoughts he has and recreate himself to become as powerful as Beerus. So I don't really know what that means. I guess we'll find out later in the arc. Very strange interaction between these two, at least in my opinion. Then the scene shifts back to the Heaters. They're watching OG-73's memories on some big TV. They find out about Zuno and the Dragon Balls. And that's when we find out that the Namekians actually used to also live on planet Cereal, which is interesting. It makes sense that they wouldn't have just lived on Namek. We know they had the capabilities to fly to other planets, so it's entirely possible that there's other Namekians on other planets that we haven't discovered yet. And then that is when we find out that Granola is actually living with a Namekian named Monaito. And he's talking with Monaito. He's still upset with what Frieza and the Saiyans did to their planet, which is understandable. He's actually a lot like Vegeta during the Frieza arc here, kind of. But Monaito tells him that using the Dragon Balls to take revenge is not the right way to go. And they glance over, and we see that they have a tiny Dragon Ball in their living room, dining room area thing. There's another set of Dragon Balls out there, but what's interesting about this set is that there's only 2 of them. And this was the second part of the chapter that really confused me, because, obviously every other set of Dragon Balls we've seen has had 7, and according to what happened with the Universe 6 tournament, the Namekians basically just chipped pieces off of the Super Dragon Ball and made their own. So I kind of assumed that meant that it just sort of stumbled across a Super Dragon Ball and managed to maybe use a little bit of magic of their own to make their own version of the dragon. But if this guy also has Dragon Balls and Kami also has Dragon Balls, I don't entirely understand how that all happened, and they haven't really explained it. And what's even more confusing is that anyone that had made a set of Dragon Balls says specifically that they created them, including Monaito and Kami. So to me, that always meant that they just have some magic Namekian power where they can just form these Dragon Balls. Which, if you're just watching Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, and Dragon Ball GT, that is exactly how it seems. But now that we know that they initially took parts off of the Super Dragon Balls, does that mean that all of these other Namekians somehow stumbled across one of the Super Dragon Balls and chipped off pieces of those? Because I find that very unlikely. So maybe they just had some original set of Dragon Balls that they chipped off, and then later Namekians used magic to recreate them. I don't know. That's also confusing because we know that Kami lost his memories when he first arrived to Earth as the nameless Namekian. And he says that he created the Dragon Balls after King Piccolo sort of, destroyed the planet basically in order to give people hope. So I don't really know how that all works. I feel like the Super Dragon Balls just should not have been part of the story, and everything would have made a lot more sense without them. But it's kind of too late for that now. So hopefully we get some sort of explanation on this, which it looks like we could actually, because the scene shifts to planet Namek, and an elder Namekian, who I assume is Mori, is talking to a bunch of younger ones about how there's all sorts of different sets of Dragon Balls and all sorts of different numbers and sizes, and that initially the Dragon Balls were meant to grant wishes to warriors. I don't know if it was sort of like they saved the planet and then they got a wish, or oh shit, this thing's coming, we're not strong enough to beat it, I need the wish to be stronger, or I don't really know. But then he drops a pretty big bombshell saying that the Namekians moved into Universe 7 from another realm. And I don't know what that could mean, really. We know about the mortal realm, other world, and the demon realm, even though the demon realm really hasn't been explored at all, at least in the main story, in Dragon Ball Heroes and Xenoverse and stuff. I think they sort of explore that a little bit more. But as far as the main continuity is concerned, they really have not talked about it much at all. So I am curious to see if they expand upon this at all, and if that ties in to maybe this other realm just had the Super Dragon Balls in it initially, so all the Namekians took pieces off, and maybe Kami arrived at Earth with a set of Dragon Balls. I have no idea. Everything has just gotten really confusing. Super has a habit of sort of retconning stuff in a way that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So, I don't know. So then the scene shifts back to Granola and Monito. And Monito goes to sleep. And Granola is just watching the TV. And the news broadcast comes on that the Dragon Ball he only needs the two. The Dragon Ball that has been missing for 40 years has been found by some kid that was hunting for bugs. And this is just awfully painfully convenient. I feel like they should have done anything other than this. Like, we could have at least had part of a chapter where Granola did something to search for the Dragon Ball. I don't know. Maybe if they were gonna say the Dragon Ball was lost and then just find it like 10 pages later, they shouldn't have even said it was lost. It should have just been somewhere where they knew. And Granola finally decided it was time for him to get that second Dragon Ball and make a wish. Anyway, the Dragon Ball ends up in some research facility. Granola breaks in, steals it, and then summons the dragon of planet Cereal, which has a pretty cool design. I do like it. And Granola wishes to be the greatest warrior in the universe. The chapter ends, the dragon does not say that his wish is granted. So maybe it's not within this dragon's power to grant that wish. It probably is. He's probably going to be the strongest warrior. it's what the Oracle fish predicted in the last chapter, but there's always a chance that there's some sort of twist here, and that is it. Like I said, there was a couple parts that I thought were really confusing, and the part where they just that kid just found the Dragon Ball in the woods was really fucking stupid, I thought. But there's still enough, cool stuff going on in this arc so far that I'm excited to see what they do with it. I don't think one sort of iffy chapter can ruin the whole arc. Although, in the case of the Mora arc, there was towards the end a bunch that I really didn't enjoy all that much. But it's Dragon Ball. I still love the franchise, even if it confuses the hell out of me, pisses me off, makes me angry. I'm still going to continue to keep up with it because I kind of feel like I have to. And it's like those Star Wars fans that are like, yeah, these prequels kind of suck and these sequels kind of suck, but it's Star Wars, so I have to watch it. So I'm in that same boat. But I'm curious to know what anyone else out there might think about this chapter. Do you think it was good, bad? Do you agree or disagree with anything that I had to say? I'm really curious to know.